Hello again, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to Classic Album, and today we have got one of the classic albums of the 80s. We are looking at Human League's album Dare. This was a make or break album for the band. They just had a split from the original band, and founding members Martin Ware and Iain Craig Marsh, they went off to form Heaven 17. So we was left with Phil Oakey and Philip Adrian Wright. They got a new producer, Martin Rushton. They recruited two teenage dancers, backing vocalists Joanne Cuthrell and Susan Sully. They got in a session keyboardist, Ian Burden, and they were under so much pressure from Virgin Records to come up with a hit. They released a single called Boys and Girls, went out on tour, but because Suzanne Sully and didn't go on the tour, but they went back into the studio in Sheffield and they come up with this album. So on this album is Ian Burden on synthesizers, Joe Callis synthesizers, Joanne Cuthrell vocals, Phil Oakey vocal synthesizers, Susan Sully vocals, Philip Adrian Wright slides and occasional synthesizers, and it was produced by Martin Rushton. Released in 1981 on the 16th of October. So another album that was released on the 16th of October 1981. We've already had a Bauhaus album that was released on that day. So this is the album. Okay, the first track on here, this is my favourite track ever by the Human League. It's not my favourite single, this is my favourite track. It's called Things That Our Dreams Are Made Of. I just love the synthesizer work in this. That bass line is great, and then you get this really good vocal from Phil Oakey. It's also very good as a instrumental that's on the Love and Dancing album. What also this is the bit in the middle where it mentions Norman Wisdom, Good Time. Brilliant sort of track, very hooky, really good track. Always enjoy this one. I love the singing on it. I just think it's a great arrangement. Then we get one of the classic singles from the album, Open Your Heart. I've also mentioned about that before. It's one of the classic singles off the album. Really good track, got a lovely piece of keyboard work in this. You hear it more prominent on the instrumental version of it. It is really good. Then we get my favourite single, Sound of the Crowd. This is the first thing I really heard by the band. So they're on Top of the Pops. It's still a great song, even to this day. One of my favourite. I'd say it's my second favourite track ever, behind that Things That Dreams Are Made Of. Then we get a very dark, deep, dark track from the album called Darkness. This isn't one of my favourite tracks on the album, but it is quite catchy, but I personally don't like it. Then we get Do or Die. That's a terrific track. Great synthesizers on this. Use them to the potential. Again, you don't realise how good this is until you've listened to the instrumental Love and Dancing. It is a terrific album. If you like this album, go and get, if you haven't got it or heard it, listen to the instrumental versions of these songs. It is absolutely brilliant. Then we get a little instrumental called Get Carter. Don't know what the point of that was. Then we get a track called I Am the Law. Unusual track. It's sort of part of their past meeting the new sound of Human League, but it's very good. Then we get Seconds. This is brilliant. Again, another great track. Some great keyboard work in this, and the production on it is superb. Martin Rushton is a very good producer, and he got everything out of this album. Then we get Love Action. Again, another great classic song from the 80s. Different sort of sounds, great vocals from the girls, and the album ends up with the classic song from the 80s, Don't You Want Me Baby. It's not one, it's okay, I don't mind this one, never have, but I think there's better tracks on the album than that. As I said, this was the breakthrough album. They were in, before they recorded this album, the band was heavily in debt. You got pressure from Virgin Records to come up with something, and I think they delivered here, and they went on to be very successful, and they still are. And they are still very good. One of my favourite bands from that 80s period are the poppy bands, them OMD and Ultravox. I really like them, even though I was a headbanger. I really like this sound they've got. It is one of the iconic albums of the 80s in my mind, and I'll give it an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, that's today's shows. What have we got for you tomorrow? Well, tomorrow we'll be looking at Scottish rockers Gun, a band that I've seen quite a lot. They were one of my favourite bands from the late 80s, early 90s. I thought they were very underrated, and they should have gone on and been a bigger band. I mean, they supported Def Leppard. They're just a great band. So we'll be looking at their albums. And retro ranking tomorrow is another great band from the 70s and 80s, The Police. One of my favourite bands from that era again. Made some interesting songs. So that's all for today. Hope you have a good day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care for now.